them with nothing but misguided hearts, steeped in moral darkness. It is not just impolite to be unthankful, it is a spiritual refusal to acknowledge God's rightful place as your source, as your sustainer, and your sovereign God. Gratitude is how we recognize God as He truly is. He is holy, worthy, faithful, and He is a good God. And when this recognition is withheld, the heart no longer gives credit to God. It begins to credit itself or created things. This marks the beginning of idolatry, as a vacuum left by ingratitude becomes fertile ground for pride and ultimately supernatural deception. Paul explains in Romans 1 that when we cease to thank God for who He is, we inevitably begin to redefine Him, shaping His nature according to our preferences, according to our feelings or cultural training. And this is what we call spiritual distortion. We view God through the lens filtered by pain, by our experiences, by pride or personal desires, rather than divine revelation. And a thankless heart projects its own brokenness onto God and calls it truth. Without the anchor of gratitude, the heart becomes cold, confused, and vulnerable to lies. And that's deception. And it begins with an emotional posture, a failure to remember and rejoice in God's faithfulness and goodness. Proverbs 4:23 exalts us to guard our hearts, for out of it flows the issues of life. Thanksgiving acts as a spiritual safeguard, protecting the heart from deception and rooting it deeply in the unchanging truth that God is infinitely good and absolutely faithful, no matter what external circumstances that you experience. So today we declare that I choose to glorify God and acknowledge Him as my source, my sustainer, and sovereign. Gratitude flows from my heart daily because I recognize God's hand in every detail of my life. I refuse to credit my success or survival to anything but the faithfulness of God. My heart will not host pride. I dethrone self and exalt the name of the Lord. I will not redefine God by my feelings or pain. I see Him through the lens of revelation. Thanksgiving guards my heart and keeps me anchored in truth and spiritual clarity. I break every agreement with deception and false images of God created by culture or confusion. My heart remains warm, alive, and full of life through a lifestyle of gratitude. I remember the goodness of God and I declare God is infinitely